Game 11 of the World Chess Championship match. We are nearing the finishing line. Jan Nepomuceno with the white pieces and Ding Liren with black. Now once again, Ding going with one of his main weapons, pawn to e4. Played that most of the match, and e5 has been played in almost all the games by Ding, except when he went French defense in one of the games. So we have once again the Spanish, bishop b5, a6, bishop a4, and we've seen this before in the match. Castles, bishop e7, and d3 anti-martial. b5, bishop to b3, and d6. Now one of the match games had the move c3 here. This one had the move a3. And this is relevant because they have played this position before. They played it at the 2020 candidates. So one would assume Ding would be and should be ready for this move in the match. And as such, maybe not the best practical try at this point, but at some stage you gotta try something. So, Pros and cons. Bishop a2, c5, so sort of normal Spanish moves here. What you do in the Tigran line, knight a5 and c5, gain some space in the center with your pawns, knight to c3, bishop e6. Yeah, we see Ding do similar stuff, try to challenge the bishop there, bishop to g5. Nepo did play a similar idea in one of the games. The idea is to take this guy and then try and get a foothold here on d5. That's what happened. Bishop takes, knight to d5. And now Ding plays g6. And bishop back to g7. Now here's the first move, new move, knight g5. I found one internet game where, one classical game as well, but the internet game was Daniel Naroditsky. He played queen g5 here. But knight g5 essentially a new move. c4, an interesting move here. Trying to blunt this bishop a little bit. Maybe, if there's a trade here, takes on e6, pawn takes, we can get the pawn on d5. Get a strong pawn chain that will play against this bishop on a2. And Nepo decides to take now on e6. And put a lot of pressure here on this pawn on c4. And note that if you take here on d3, I can always flick in, bishop takes e6 with check. But Ding plays bishop h6, pins the knight, rook a to d1. And now, okay, there's pressure here. And Ding finds this move, rook b8. And the idea is that if you take on c4, I'll take back and I will have pressure here, and this will become relevant in the game. But now, an interesting thing. White takes on c4. And on every move, there will be a trade. And I'm wondering if this is the most amount of pieces captured in a row in a World Championship match. So we have, after d takes c4, 1. Knight takes 2, 3, 4, and now he takes on d6, takes the pawn. 5, there's a trade. 6, 7, 8, another trade. 9. And also, according to my research, we never had double e-pawns in the center of the board in a World Championship match. So double record, despite maybe the game not being the most interesting, we had some kind of record. I think we're up to 9, 10, 11, trade there, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think actually I counted wrong. Let's go again. So d takes c4 was the first one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Yes, 15 moves in a row where you capture a piece. And after this all, we have a rook endgame where, yes, white is up a pawn, but those pawns are doubled. And after trading off the a and c pawns, which white kind of has to do, if he's not careful, you allow the move c3, then you're just one move away from blundering the game, rook check and c2. So Nepo goes immediately for the c pawn. And after king f2, he does attack and win the e pawn, but not after Ding makes some checks here. The king has to run away. And now we attack the e pawn. You do win the e pawn, but now the king is coming. It's going to attack this guy. And yeah, perpetual here. And a draw is agreed. So not the most eventful game maybe, but maybe you had 2 records that, we never had in a World Championship match. So try to get a nice spin on it. In any case, it was game 11, rest day, and then the vital 12th game where Ding has the white pieces. And hopefully I'll see you then.